Hello reader friends, happy fall. This is the best season of the year because it is our time to shine. As readers, we read all year long, but this is the season in which we can do it in a cozy fashion, complete with pumpkin pillows and throw blankets, spiced lattes, and cookies. And yes, I know I have Halloween decorations up early. In my mind, it is mandatory to do such a thing because you only have so long to celebrate Halloween. But anyways, in this video, we're focusing on fall reads, and to me, nothing screams fall more than magic, potions, spells, cauldrons, and things of that nature. And naturally, those key words conjure up one series only in my mind, and that is the Otherworld's books depend on the bean counter. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my fall started with volumes 3 and 4 of this beautiful magical isekai boys love manga. So I'll see you in the next clip. Hello, it is the next day and I have some reading updates to share with you. So yesterday I finished reading volume 3 of the Otherworld's books depend on the bean counter, and this morning I finished reading volume 4 of the same series. This series is a lot of fun. It's one of the most interesting BLs I've read in a while since it throws in some other components like magic and the genre of isekai. I think this is actually my first isekai that I've ever read, and I definitely want to read more now. I really adore the art in this series so much. The way that the artist uses chibi faces, silly faces to convey emotions is just really fun and entertaining. I love it so much. I will say that story-wise, I enjoy the novels a little bit more because they go into more depth, but the manga is still a lot of fun to read and it's very adorable. So now that I've finished up those volumes of manga, I feel like reading a novel. So I have 3 options. I have The Cat Who Saved Books. I recently got this from Thrift Books. This is a used copy. You can tell from how cheesy the edges look. This is a story about a cat who saves books. The cat talks. There's elements of magical realism and fantasy, so I feel like this would be perfect for the fall season. I also have Kiki's Delivery Service, which is an obvious pick for the fall. And the third option I picked out was Ascendance of a Bookworm. This is like a rebirth story where a college girl passes away but then is reborn as this young girl in another world, and she dreams of becoming a librarian. It's got some fantasy elements to it, so this seems like a good pick for the fall as well. Okay, so those were our contestants, and here I have papers with their names on them, and I'm going to put them in a jar, shake it around, and pick one at random because I cannot decide. So our next fall read is Ascendance of the Bookworm. I'm happy that I pulled this light novel because I've been very curious about this series for a while. So I'm gonna go ahead and get cozy with this book, and I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, I'm not even that far in at all. I'm on page 9, and I have something to report. I'm in the prologue, and this specific line absolutely sent me. It says, in order to survive, she always kept a book close at hand, whether she was taking a bath, okay, fine, using the bathroom. That's questionable. Like, you're gonna go into the bathroom with a cloth-bound book, with a paperback, a hardcover? Absolutely not. Hello reader friends, I have been having the time of my life enjoying the fall weather and reading, and all of these fall feelings that I'm experiencing are only enhanced by Ascendance of a Bookworm. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I am currently on page 169, and this book is a total of 309 pages, and it has been such a breeze to read. A big reason why this is so easy to just pick up and read for hours is because the narrator of our story is genuinely funny. This story is narrated by our main character, who is this college-age student, and since this is a rebirth story, as we expect, she dies within the first few pages. That's not a spoiler, that's on the back. And she is reborn as a sick, weak 5-year-old. All that she has on her mind currently is books, because she is a bookworm, and she figures, well, if I'm going to be deathly sick all the time, at least I can read something, right? Well, no. It turns out that there are no bookstores in this world. This world is like a medieval world. There's no running water, there's no toilets, there's no electricity, and most of the population is illiterate and doesn't have access to books. Books are viewed as something that only nobles have access to, and this enrages and saddens our character. When she finds out that her new father can't afford a single piece of parchment paper without going into bankruptcy, she nearly freaks out. But she turns it around and makes it her mission to create books, because if you can't buy them, you gotta make them. And it's been such a fun journey seeing her kind of like level up. She tries her best to improve the state of her sickly body. She creates things like shampoos and baked goods out of different items. She scours the resources that she has and tries to make a book out of whatever material she can get her hands on. I'm really enjoying this book, and I'm about halfway through, so I think this is an appropriate time to pick out something else to read along with this light novel. And it just so happens that I got some book mail today. Okay, yay, I'm so excited for this one. This is volume 2 of Gakuryō Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. This is perfect timing because this series, in my opinion, screams fall. Anything supernatural, anything having to do with Japanese folklore just feels like it fits right in with fall reading. And I read the first volume of this series and I genuinely enjoyed it, so I'm really excited to read more of this series. And in this package, I got volumes 1 and 3 of this series, The Demon Prince of Momochi House. I had a feeling this was in this package because I opened up a package yesterday without showing you guys, and it was volume 4 of the same series. I don't know much about this. I just picked it up because, again, it seems like a series that is right up my alley. I love supernatural things. I love anything that feels like it was inspired by XXXholic. So I'll just read the synopsis on the back. It it says on her 16th birthday, orphan Himari Momochi inherits her ancestral estate that she's never seen. Momochi House exists on the barrier between the human and spiritual realms. But on the day she moves in, she finds 3 handsome squatters living in the house, and one seems to have already taken over her role. This sounds interesting. This sounds like something I could get into. Also, another thing that attracted me to them is that they have like color pages on the inside that are like so pretty. So I'll show them to you. I'm just like a sucker for color pages. Let me show you the other volumes up close. This is volume 3. This is an X-Library volume, but it looks pretty good for being X-Library. But of course it has like those markings on the top, but it's not that bad. I don't mind buying X-Library books as long as the price is very fair, and it was. It was like very cheap. Like what, $4? I don't even remember. And then this is the volume I got yesterday, volume 4. And they all have those pretty color pages on the inside. They are just eye candy. I am so happy right now. I got volumes 7 and 8 of Usotoki Rhetoric finally, and these covers are so stunning. I love the artwork so much for this series. It is so good. This one is truly giving fall. Like, it's really going all out and giving us fall extravaganza. I love it so much. So Usotoki Rhetoric is this really beautiful historical manga, and it's about Kanoko, who has the ability to hear lies. A lot of people don't want to get close to her because they feel like they can't lie around her, and that causes them to feel deeply uncomfortable. So she moves to this new place and quickly catches the attention of this detective, who notices her knack for calling out the BS. He asks her to be his assistant, and they make a great duo when it comes to solving mysteries. Alright, so here's everything that I got in my haul, and now I have a hard decision to make. I need to choose what to read next, and a lot of these sound very tempting. I don't know what I'm going to pick, but I guess you'll know in the next clip. You guys, someone forgot to hit the space bar between is and a. Hello, I just came back from getting a haircut, so please forgive me if there are stray hairs upon my shirt. I actually really love my haircut. It's like one of my favorite haircuts I've gotten in a long time, and I would show you, but then I would be showing face, and we can't have that. Just know that the haircut I got is giving gender euphoria. But anyways, enough yapping about my haircut. I have some reading updates to share with you guys. So I recently finished volume 7 of Usotoki Rhetoric, and I really enjoyed it. We got to learn more about Soma, which I really enjoyed. We got to learn about his background and his family. This volume had lots of drama and also some fun comedic bits, so I really enjoyed reading it. And I finished reading the first light novel for Ascendance of a Bookworm, and this was really good. So this is basically an isekai series. Our main character originally lives in the real world, but one day she passes and she wakes up in a new, almost medieval world world where she's like in this really weak body of like a 5-year-old. And in her previous life, she was a bookworm, so she figures that the best way to get through this rough spot is to just read a bunch of books, but there is no access to books for common people. So she takes it upon herself to somehow bring books to the common people. It's fun reading about this character who was living in modern Japan and is now living in this place that doesn't have electricity or flushing toilets or anything like that. She comes up with these genius inventions and everyone thinks that she's so smart, but really she's just recreating her comforts that she had at home. It's as if she came from the future and she's like this prodigal child, which is just really funny. And yeah, I feel like I keep saying that. It's funny, it's enjoyable, it's great. And I'm looking forward to reading more of this. And I also recently got some book mail. This is such a gorgeous volume. I'm in love with it. This is volume 4 of Tokyo Babylon, and this pink is just amazing. It's intoxicating, it's beautiful. The illustration is also just wonderful. It also has like a color insert that opens up and it's really pretty as well. Before I got this in the mail, I was debating what to read next for this fall season, but here it is. I need not question any further what I'm reading next. This is a supernatural series by Clamp, and we follow Subaru, who has these supernatural abilities. He is the 13th head of his clan and a powerful onmyoji. He's able to tame reckless spirits. He has all these cool abilities, and this is honestly perfect for the fall because, like I stated in the beginning, for me, fall is all about magic and supernatural stories, so this is perfect for that. So this is what I'm going to be reading immediately, but I also picked out a read for my weekend trip, and I picked out The Cat Who Saved Books. I mentioned this one previously when I was trying to pick out a read, and this is about a cat who saves books. The cat can speak, so I'm sold. That's all I really need to know. This book is pretty thin as well. It's less than 200 pages, so I think that will be manageable. And I don't know, something about this book just feels like it would be fun to annotate. This is a used copy, and I love annotating used books because they're already used, you know, might as well just use them some more. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna pack this in my little book bag for my trip. You guys, I'm obsessed with this bag. I love that it's clear so you can see the book that's inside, and I love this character Hangidon. It's such a soft bag. It's like a plushie. It's actually giving Familia Peluche. If you know, you know. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be taking on my trip pretty soon, so we'll have fun with that. But for now, let's go ahead and read volume 4 of Tokyo Babylon. Hello reader friends, I am back from my weekend trip, prepared to share some reading updates, as well as a mini book haul. So first we're going to start with some reading updates. I finished reading Tokyo Babylon Volume 4 before my road trip. The way that I'd summarize this series so far is as a collection of short stories. We follow different characters in each volume who are going through difficult life experiences. The topics discussed are very heavy, and our main character Subaru is trying to comfort and console these people. And Subaru is this very kind-hearted person who just so happens to have these supernatural abilities. He's able to call forward spirits of those who have deceased, and he's able to talk to spirits who are taking their revenge on people, and he tries to de-escalate the situation, but he is a little bit naive and he does see the world through rose-colored glasses, which really makes it difficult for him to solve these situations. And as the story continues, you can see how he starts to change a little bit from being exposed to these hard scenarios. It's a really touching story, and I'm excited to read more of this series. And while on my road trip, I was reading The Cat Who Saved Books. I didn't finish it, I got about halfway through. I got to page 97, which is pretty good for having a busy, packed weekend, and you can see here that I've made a few annotations. I'm enjoying the story so far. This is a slice of life book that follows a teenager named Rintaro who just lost his grandfather. His grandfather owned a bookstore called Natsuki's Books, and now this bookstore is in the hands of Rintaro, our main character. Our main character is apathetic towards this bookstore. He's planning on moving away and having the bookstore close. A couple of his classmates visit him and tell him not to do so, but he cannot really be swayed. He is a very introverted person that likes to just be alone. He is described as a hikikomori, which is someone who excludes themselves from society, stays home, and doesn't really interact with people. But Rintaro's character starts to change when all of a sudden this cat walks into the bookstore. And this cat is like, hey, you need to do me a favor. There is this person who is imprisoning books and you need to stop him. And our main character is like, I don't really want to, but you keep telling me to, so I guess I will. And here's where the magic realism takes place. The bookstore kind of transforms into this portal to a different dimension, it seems like, and our main character fulfills these quests with the speaking cat. These events / quests are called labyrinths, as said by the cat, and our main character continues to go through these labyrinths at the cat's request. And I was pretty surprised with how fast this book started to move. I guess it makes sense because this book is less than 200 pages, so it's a quick little read. I would have liked for there to be a little bit more pause and a little bit more time to process everything, because it's just boom, 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 here we go. This is what we're doing now. Altogether, I'd say that so far this book is okay. It's not blowing me away. I do think it's interesting how it tackles the subject of reading. It talks a lot about what is the right way to read. Is there a right way to read? Are books something for entertainment purposes only? Are they only for study? Is your ranking in society determined at all by how many books you read? Is reading books a waste of time? Etc., etc. It explores these kinds of questions through the labyrinths and the characters we meet who are usually abusing books in some way, shape, or form. So it's an interesting little book for sure. Alright, and now let's move on to my little haul. I got 3 things from Half Price Books. Every time I visit a place that has a Half Price Books, I have to go, because who doesn't love getting used books at a great discounted price? That sounded like an ad. It's not. So the first thing I picked up was Four Swords Part 1. This is a 2-volume series, and it's a manga adaptation of the game Four Swords. I recently played it with some friends and had a great time. I spotted this at the store and I was like, I need to read this. And I also found volume 6 of XXX Now, I've already read this. I technically own this because I have the 2 first XXX omnibus volumes, but this volume is one of my favorites in the story, and I just really wanted it in in this single edition. And from now on, whenever I find an XXX single volume at a discounted fair price, I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up because I just love this series so much. It's sincerely one of my favorite supernatural series. Plus, another reason why I want to start collecting these single volumes is because they come with color pages on the inside. And tragically, the new omnibus volumes don't come with any color pages, which is bizarre. So I feel like it's really worth it to pick up these when I get the chance. And the last thing I got is not a manga volume, but a manhwa volume. And this is one that I debated on picking up when it first came out, but I didn't since it was $20 and I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy the story. So when I saw it at the store for $10, I picked it up immediately. And that is Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. This series has a ton of fans. A ton of people have hyped this up. This story follows an office worker who is reading like this web novel, and I believe he's the only one who reads it, and he's read it from the very beginning. And one day, the last chapter of this story releases, he reads it, and upon finishing it, the world starts to end, which is such a bizarre and crazy synopsis. All these really intense things start happening. There's like hellish monsters and just crazy things happening, and the main character's like, wait a minute, I'm getting deja vu. I've seen this before. This is from the web novel I read. So our main character starts to connect the dots and realizes that all of these events match up with the web novel he was reading, and that this is only going to get worse and worse since he is the only one who knows how this story ends. I'm very excited to read this, and I really hope I get hooked. And that is all for this fall reading vlog. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a great fall and that you read some really cozy things as well as some spooky things if you're into that. Go ahead and let me know down below what you're really excited to read this fall, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!